Hello viewers, trust you're having a great weekend. Welcome you again to First Next News Port Harcourt. On the show this morning, I'll be bringing to you Daybreak Politics, the weekend edition. On this special edition, we'll be bringing to you all that trended in the world of politics throughout the weekend. My name is Zach Jimmy. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back in your ears. Thank you very much for still staying tuned. We move straight to the first and interesting development that we saw on our political space over the weekend. And that particular story is about the Minister of the FCT, Barrister Nyesom Wike, and the officer, the naval officer, A.M. Yerima, where they engaged in an altercation over land grabbing. Of course, this has raised so many concerns, and of course, over the news, we've seen a report from generals, the Guild of Generals, military generals, condemning the action of the FC minister. And we also saw some people who also said, yes, Officer Yerima did the right thing by protecting lives and properties as it is enshrined in the Constitution and, of course, the mandate of the security outfit. Of course, this has raised so many concerns, with netizens saying, well, he would have gone that much by calling the officers such names. I don't know what the FCT minister was thinking, but 2 days after that particular scenario, he came up to give a press briefing. And in that press briefing, he said he wouldn't have called the military such name, that he respects institution, that he respects the rule of law. But this has raised so many concerns. People thinking, well, I've heard so many people saying the FCT minister himself, does he even obey court orders? Does he even see himself as somebody that should be respected? Of course, he is the minister, and by virtue of being a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he is representing the president. And some people have called on the president to sanction him, to call him to order, because if he continues in this attitude, he's in a way trying to demean, of course, debase the image of the country and, of course, the position he's owing at high esteem. What is your thoughts on this particular one? I would love to get your thoughts on this. That was one of the trending stories that rocked our political space over the weekend. Another story that you may want to know that took place this weekend is the National Assembly budget deliberations and economic concern. Also, we saw the 2026 budget debate. Of course, the week the National Assembly began deliberations on the 2026 national budget. Of course, the proposed budget is a critical topic. Of course, as President Bola Tinubu administration focuses on addressing the country's economic challenges, lawmakers have expressed concerns over the high level of debt servicing. We saw the president requesting a whopping sum of 1.12 trillion naira, with so many people calling for a greater concern over the speed of which the president is calling and, of course, requesting for debt. This has dragged the country into so much mess, according to economic experts, that the president is doing so much by trying to get loan. Of course, and as common Nigerians, we keep asking the questions, why getting so much loan? Of course, we also saw over the weekend as Nigerians call on the National Assembly to take their names away and write their names in the golden time of time, that they should have been seen as a rubber stamp. And we also saw the senator representing Edo North, Senator Adams Oshomole, who came up openly and said, Mr. President, Senior President, please, the Senate should not be a rubber stamp whereby anything the president brings, we all stamp, we all approve without vetting thoroughly. Of course, the Senate, the hallowed chamber, is a house that's meant for vetting. They're supposed to vet whatever the president brings. But over time, what we've been seeing is the ASFAS, is the National Assembly, always approving whatever the president brings without a thorough search, a thorough look into the issue. Look at the issue of the 1.12 trillion loan the president is requesting. From 2023 to date, the president has collected so much. The president has applied for so much, and none of this loan has been stepped down by the National Assembly. They keep approving it, and thereby the president gets the approval from them. It's biting hard on the common citizen. Look at the DMO. Look at our economic analysis currently in the country. Are we actually doing well or not? Do not forget, Mr. President, to know that at 55.6%, we have achieved the threshold as at August. Why are we still borrowing? Of course, on the convention over the weekend, my colleagues and I, we spoke about it, and they are of the opinion that we should give the president some time, and I query the decision of giving the president some time. What has he been doing with the loan he has been collecting over the time, it appears that it is a template. They hold this right to the National Assembly and then get a loan. Of course, netizens have said he's using it to plan his 2027 election, allegedly. But let's not believe that the president is trying to use the common patrimony of you and I, our taxpayer money, ahead to fund his election. That would be so unfortunate if this is actually true. But be that as it may, the message is that the National Assembly should do what is expected of them as enshrined in the Constitution, Section 715, that it is the duty of the National Assembly to vet. Of course, the president in Section 4, Section 5, Section 131, Section 134, that is to present budgets to the National Assembly. Of course, that has been the discussion over the week. And also the development that we saw over the week is the story. Of course, we also saw the president trying to send some envoy to United Kingdom to plead on behalf of Ike Ekweremadu, the erstwhile deputy the president of the Nigerian Senate. And also over the week, we also saw so many developments, the issues from politics. The PDP issue, of course, has taken another dimension. Today is supposed to be the national convention of the party, but as we speak, we don't know what the environment is looking like. But our correspondent all the way from Oyo State will feed us with developments as regards the convention, if it's actually taking place or not. The more reason you need to stay tuned and follow up this channel, because we'll give you an up-to-date development in the next couple of days on this particular platform. But be that way, of course, we shouldn't be having back and forth in the PDP. This is a great party we once considered as Africa's biggest political party that held the position of powers from 1999 to 2015. Good 16 years. What is happening with the PDP? Why are we having so many interests? Why are we people who do not want the interest of the party to see the light of the day? So these are many more raised so many concerns, as Nigerians have called, that the PDP need to put their house together and sort out every challenges they had in the party. Or we also saw over the weekend, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, of course, the popular name in Nigerian legislative system, of course, judiciary system, with so many calling for his immediate release. Of course, he filed a suit that he shouldn't be charged for anything that the Court of Appeal had stepped down his judgment, stepped down his appeal. But we've seen some back and forth, and Nigerians are calling for the immediate release. Of course, the president needs to look into the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Already is sending envoy to the UK. But what is happening with his own country? Somebody who is holding captive in the DSS custody, so that we don't waste much time and I'll allow you go have some fun this weekend. Yesterday, we saw a news that almost broke the hearts of Nigerians. The passing away of the former Anambra State Governor, Chief Willie Obiano. But over the night, we saw another developing story emanating from the official Facebook page of the former Anambra State Governor, saying he's alive. He's not dead. He's not dead. But why would somebody wish somebody dead? You don't confirm somebody is dead or not. We don't wish anybody to die. Well, on the 25th of next month is to face the courts over an alleged 4 billion naira corruption charges. When he was the governor, he stole some money allegedly to the tune of 4 billion naira. He's supposed to be in court on the 25th of November. So why will he die? He needs to have his day in court. He needs to tell the Indian Anambra, tell Nigeria what happened to 4 billion naira, all right, that left the coffers of the state. We're not wishing him dead. So Mazi, Chief, I don't know why Mazi, well, Chief Willie Obiano, you're going to live long. You're going to be accountable to the good people of Anambra. Of course, what my chief, I don't know, I'm still calling him Mazi. Chief Willie Obiano, he ruled the people of Anambra State from 2003 rather, to 2015, where he handed over power to Peter Obi, and Peter Obi handed over now to Professor Charles Solodo, who recently won a re-election to continue his second term in office as the governor of Anambra. That happened yesterday. Of course, that's all that happened over the week in the world of politics. Sincere apologies for not bringing our sports update today. We'll continue that next week. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Till I come your way again, my name is Zach Jimmy. Do have a lovely weekend. Say bye for now.